Hello Internet, and welcome to a segment I like to call simply The Top. This time around, we'll be looking at the top 5 most criminally underrated DCOMs. For whatever reason, people just didn't seem to like these movies as much as some of the others, but I'm here to tell you that these movies aren't just better than people think, but genuinely great in most cases. Now, quick note, I have seen most of the total 102 Disney Channel original movies released, but not all. If you think there's a movie that I missed here, throw it on the comments and let's discuss. I really want to know what you all think about this topic. With that all said, let's kick things off. Number 5. Avalon High. Here's a pretty under-the-radar movie that not even I saw for a fairly long time. Cards on the table? I watched a preview for it and thought it was gonna blow, so I avoided it like the plague. But then I got around to watching it pretty recently and I could not have been more wrong about a DCOM. Stuart Gillard directs this, which in the DCOM universe usually means it's destined to be either okay or god-awful. But this film, he really gets right. The actors really show up in this one, delivering solid performances across the board, particularly Joey Polari, who actually won a Directors Guild Award for his supporting role as Miles. The score is wonderful, and the medieval iconography and background details work really well. Some of the best moments come in how the movie sets up several different options for late movie reveals that you just need to watch to figure out. I really can't think of too much I didn't like about this movie. Pretty solid in nearly all categories and one of my all-time favorites. People that have seen it seem to favor it a bit more than other movies on this list, but for me, I'd still say that it's underrated. Number 4. Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior. On the surface level, Wendy Wu seems like it could be a bad movie. I mean, just look at its title, it still kind of irks me, the whole Homecoming Warrior thing, but it really works, and I really love it. Here's why. It takes a unique angle, diving into Eastern culture in a way no DCOM ever has, with themes of legacy and familial responsibility in addition to the martial arts. That alone gives me a lot of respect for this film, since so few DCOMs even attempt to take such a route. But here's the biggest thing for me. Power Rangers. Yeah, you heard right. Power Rangers. One of my all-time favorite shows, is a large influence on this particular movie. At least 3 different actors from this project have Ranger ties in some shape or form. Additionally, Koichi Sakamoto, the action choreographer for Power Rangers since 1999, does the action for this movie as well, and I felt it the whole way. It can certainly have its cheesy moments, but from my perspective, those moments really connect to me as a big-time Power Rangers fan, and the fighting is, for the most part, solid. I can understand if this movie isn't quite your speed, but for me, it's fun, it's got some really great moments and scenes, and I really enjoy Shin Koyamada as a real-life martial artist and movie sensei. So, in my opinion, definitely underrated. Number 3. Jump In. Timing probably cost this movie more than anything. The basic premise of choosing what you know versus choosing what you found a passion for at the expense of family and friends had just been done in High School Musical the year before. But here's the thing, Jump In actually works that mechanic better. Why? Well, with High School Musical, the central conflict was treated in more traditional, we don't associate with their kind past a certain point, high school cliche, nothing you haven't seen a million times. But the only thing that connects boxing and jump rope in this movie is the perception of how manly either activity is, thus creating a film that is arguably more about how Izzy feels about himself and the state of his relationship with his father in the aftermath of the death of his mother. A much heavier take on a concept that gives this movie a great deal more emotional weight than most others. The score also brings a uniquely New York vibe to the film, and, more than anything, the powerful dynamic between Izzy and his father, as well as the great chemistry between Corbin and Keke Palmer's characters, really make this one memorable for me. And, did I mention that Paul Hoen just so happened to win a Directors Guild Award for this movie? Another one of my all-time favorites and, most definitely, underrated. Number 2. Dadnapped. Considering how many big-name Disney Channel stars are actually in this movie, it's kinda surprising that this film isn't as popular as it should be. Similar to Read It and Weep, you have a character that communicates with and is influenced by a figment of her imagination, and, once again, it works out so well here, and arguably better in this movie. The plot in this movie is nothing to really write home about, but that's the case with many DCOMs, and some of those movies are very popular. What we have here is a really great set of actors playing their roles very well. This is especially true for our lead, Emily Osment, who works really well here as a troubled daughter of a famous writer who would do anything for his attention. She goes so far as to imagine Trip Zoom, her father's creation, in her life to grant her help and advice, since she feels that her dad cares more about him than her. I don't want to spoil what that all adds up to, but suffice to say, it brings the movie to a satisfying conclusion. Great direction once again out of Paul Hohen, engaging performances, and, in my view, the second most underrated DCOM of all time. Number 1. The Cheetah Girls, One World. This obviously won't be a popular opinion, but for my money, the third installment of the Cheetah trilogy is by far the best. The first movie was good with a great soundtrack, and the second movie was just kind of pointless, but this movie has a lot going for it. The absence of Raven from the cast actually benefited the movie. Why, you ask? 2 reasons. 1, because I don't think Raven really added much to the first 2 movies outside of being extremely loud and incredibly bossy, and 2, because the whole point of the film became about who and what this trio of girls were and would become without their leader piloting them through most of their decisions. I'm the One is a particularly great track that helps take that point home as well. It's probably the best acting in the trilogy also, because all 3 Cheetah sisters have to do a fair amount of soul searching, so there's a lot of individual moments for growth and development. The premise is brilliant, the movie is gorgeous, and the actors bring it better than any other film. And in my view, One World is the most underrated DCOM of all time. And that's the top 5. Don't forget to share your thoughts on the list as well as which DCOM should be my next review. If you like any of the movies listed here, let me know and I'll try to put a full-scale review together. Also, follow my new Twitter page since it's not really easy to communicate with people via YouTube. Until next time, thanks for watching.